Featherweight fight here. Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres taking on Kevin Croom. And this is a fun one. I like this fight. Total is 2.5. Over is minus 180. The under is plus 150. And cards on the table, folks. I'm on Kevin Croom. I already took the shot on the underdog here. I like Kevin Croom in this spot. He's a super high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a brown belt. He's not a black belt. But Alex Caceres is a guy whose the majority of his losses have come by submission. So he's going to have a weakness there that Kevin can absolutely exploit. Kevin brings heat on the feet, too. This is a guy that corrals you with big, heavy punches. And if he can track down Alex Caceres and hit him with something hard, he can absolutely hurt him. Now, on the flip side of this, Kevin Croom, he's been finished before. He's got, I believe, 4 knockout losses in his career. Now, he's got a lot of experience, so that's not necessarily the knock that we would expect it to be. But he has been knocked out before. Alex Caceres has been kind of showing that he's sitting on his punches and a little confident in himself lately. So I could absolutely see him going for some kind of a finish if he can stick and move. If he can fluster Kevin Croom. If he can make it where Kevin Croom can't get his hands on him, which we're in the small cage in the apex. Not overly likely in my opinion, but if he's able to get that game plan going, then he'll be able to just pepper this guy and might sit on a punch a little bit later. I think there is an opportunity for both of these guys to get the finish, and especially for Kevin Croom to get that submission, if he can just maul Alex on the mat the way I feel like he can. The under 2.5, plus 150, plus 160, that's the way I would look in this fight. Because I'm already heavily invested in Kevin Croom, I'm not going to look at the under on this one and double up on the spot because I do think Croom is far more likely to finish than Caceres is, so I don't need that extra incentive to play the under 2.5 since I'm already on Croom. I'm passing from a totals perspective, but if I wasn't backing Croom, I would be looking at the under. Bantamweight fight, Pedro Munoz taking on Jimmy Rivera. I feel like we just talked about this one. So this is one of those spots that even myself, I'm calling it a dead over. We've got a 2.5 set at minus 290. The under 2.5 is plus 230. We're probably going to see a lot of decisions on this card, folks. Just telling you right now. Pedro Munoz hits hard. He has nasty leg kicks. Jimmy Rivera is a solid striker, very technical, defensively sound. But the problem with that is that because he's defensively sound and because he's extremely durable, he just never goes down. And we've got the submission ace, Pedro Munoz. He's got that nasty guillotine. If Jimmy Rivera gets his head stuck in those arms, he could choke him out and it could be over very quickly. But I don't expect Jimmy Rivera to make that mistake. If he's feeling comfortable on the feet, he's never going to put his head in that kind of a position for that kind of danger. So really, it's either Munoz or bust. Rivera's probably not going to finish Munoz. He's a grinder. He never finishes anybody. So it's either Munoz getting an upset win and a finish to cash an under ticket, or it's Jimmy Rivera grinding out a decision, or maybe Munoz edging some kind of a split. So this one's going over in my opinion. Minus 290, I hate the price tag. I don't lay chalk in that kind of spot, but this is not a spot where I can convince anybody to take a stab on this under. Women's flyweight, Montana De La Rosa taking on Mayra Bueno Silva. Really fun women's fight here. We've got a total once again set at 2.5. Over is minus 240. Under is plus 190. And we do have an interesting spot here where maybe you can convince yourself to take an under. I'm not necessarily going to pull that trigger, but it's possible. Montana De La Rosa is a strong wrestler, good submission artist herself, and she's got very improved boxing. On the feet, she's looked better and better and better every time we've seen her. Now she moved out to Elevation Fight Team. She left her family behind. She's getting some hard training in for this fight, and it's a big step up in camp, similar to what we talked about with Alexander Hernandez. Mayra Bueno Silva, everyone knows her from the Dana White Contender Series. This girl has a nasty submission game on her. If she gets you to the floor, she can choke just about anybody out. She put Jillian Robertson away in her UFC debut, which was something a lot of us did not see coming because Jillian is the one who submits basically everybody. So she is nasty, she is dangerous, and you don't want to be on the floor with her. But what we see when you've got two women, or two men, two fighters in general, if they have a matching skill set, they tend to battle over the skill set that they feel they've got the edge in, and that's the opposite skill set. So these two might strike. We might end up having a 15-minute battle on the feet here. And we've got Mayra Bueno Silva, who's got kind of a kicking game, versus Montana De La Rosa, who's a very boxing-heavy attack. Montana De La Rosa has a 2-inch reach advantage here, and like I said, with those improvements, Mayra is extremely hittable. She keeps her hands down. She gets tagged in the face. If you can get around those legs, she gets her head cracked almost every single time anybody gets on her on the feet. I think there's a significant striking advantage here for Montana De La Rosa. And because Montana is the wrestler in this situation, I think she can dictate whether or not this fight takes place on the feet or on the floor. Silva's got nothing to write home about really with her wrestling. She ends up in scrambles or she takes someone's back to get it to the floor. I don't see Montana De La Rosa giving that up. Now, if they do end up in some kind of a scramble and this does hit the mat, Silva's live for a finish. She absolutely can catch a submission at any point in time, like I've said before. And on the feet, I'm concerned with her durability. I'm concerned with the way I've seen her head snap back. I'm not sure she likes being hit. And from what I've seen from Montana De La Rosa, she actually hits pretty hard and she puts that reach to work. I don't know that I necessarily see Montana De La Rosa getting a knockout, a standing knockout on the feet, but I don't want to count it out because of what I've seen from Silva. This is a spot where the over is more than likely gonna hit. I'm extremely tempted on that plus 190 on the under just because the submission game of Silva, and then it keeps in that outside shot that Montana De La Rosa shows a new level in her game and manages to get a knockout or a TKO victory. So another one that unfortunately it's just too close to call for me. I'm gonna pass. If it was a better number, if we were getting a juicier number on that under, then I would probably go ahead and play that because of the submission offense of Silva and because De La Rosa isn't dead in the water for a finish here. But once again, unfortunately, this one's very close, and I think I need a little bit better of a number to go ahead and take that under. Otherwise, you might as well just take Mayra Bueno Silva by submission if you think she's going to be the one that gets it done, because you'll get a better price tag on that.